Okay, so we're going to look at an area and perimeter question from a 2011 ordinary level paper. So it's a question about 2D shapes. We can see that we have a large rectangle, and in the bottom corner a little triangle seems to have been cut out of it. So the first question is to calculate the area of the rectangle shown in the diagram. So if we want to calculate the area of a rectangle, we need a formula for area. So the formula for the area of a rectangle is the length by the width. You have to take note that this formula actually isn't in the maths tables, nor is the formula for the areas or perimeters of squares. So those are formulas that we just have to remember off. The length is going to be this length up here, so 14 centimeters, and the width is going to be 8. So sometimes they call the width the breadth. So don't be afraid if you see the width written as the breadth, sometimes called the breadth, sometimes called the width. So if we throw in the length and the width into that formula, so the area then is 14 times 8, and 14 times 8 is 112 centimeters squared. So one thing we want to make sure to do is not to lose any marks available to us. So if you don't write down the units, that can often lead to a 1 mark deduction in the question. So just make sure that where there is units involved in a question that you write them down, and area is measured in centimeters squared. The second part of the question says hence calculate the area of the shaded region. So whenever they use the word hence, it means that we're probably going to use something that we've already found in the question. So we found out that the area of the rectangle was 112, and normally when they say hence, it means that we're going to use that figure going forward. So it says hence calculate the area of the shaded region. The shaded region is this region here. So it's the area of the rectangle minus the area of this little triangle down in the bottom corner. It's always a good idea to write that down in words first. So the area of the shaded region is equal to the area of the rectangle minus the area of the triangle. This triangle down here, we need a formula for that, and the formula for the area of a triangle is half the base by the perpendicular height. We've already calculated the area of the rectangle, the length by the width. So before we can proceed with this, we need to figure out what the base is of this triangle. So we can see from the sketch that we know it's 14 the full length across the rectangle, and we know that from here all the way over to here, that's equal to 10 centimeters. So if we subtract the two, we can see that the base of the triangle is 4 centimeters, and we can throw this into the formula. So the length by the width, which we've calculated already, is 112, and then we're going to put in half the base by the height for the triangle, so the base being 4 and the perpendicular height of the triangle being 5. And when we work this out, we get 112 minus 10, so that means that the area of this small triangle is 10 centimeters squared. So finally, if we're looking for the area of the shaded region, it's the 112, the area of the rectangle, minus 10, the area of the triangle, and we get 102 centimeters squared. And again, don't forget to include the units in your question.